So on the show today, we'll be heading across from sunny Corner to Cullen Bullen with a group of four-wheel drive enthusiasts. It's about a 45k trip, and there's some pretty difficult sections in the middle, but there's also some great scenery to be had. We'll be taking the cars across the Turon River and through Turon National Park, where there's also some great camping spots. So come along and join us. The trip we're doing today starts here on Daylight Creek Road, and it's a good spot to stop and do your standard checks, including setting tyre pressures. The turn-off onto Daylight Creek Road is just a kilometre outside of Sunny Corner on the Dark Corner Road, and it's all well signposted. We're actually using the trip notes out of the book Four-Wheel Drive Treks Close to Sydney by Kathy Savage and Craig Lewis, which, as the name suggests, has some great treks and all within a few hours' drive of Sydney. As you can tell, the drought is over and there is plenty of water across the roads in the Sunny Corner forests. Creek and river crossings are one of the big features of this trip, with about 10 crossings to negotiate in all, and this first easy one prepares us for what's to come. Another one of the features of this trip is the steep climbs and descends throughout. The roads reach up and over the very hilly terrain, and it can make for some challenging work when the roads are wet. But more of that soon. I've joined the Christian Autosports Club of Australia for this trip, and although they are mainly a motorsports club, they also have a group of members with a keen interest in four-wheel driving. They conduct about 3 trips every year in amongst their regular race and rally competitions. The club's been around for over 40 years, and with a strong membership base, their four-wheel drive outings always have a good show-up of families. It doesn't take much rain to change the conditions on these red clay-based road surfaces. We've had a bit of rain for the past 30 minutes, and the track is now slippery and much more unpredictable. We're heading into another creek crossing, but it's what's on the other side of the creek that's got everybody talking. There's a big hill, and another steep climb. Now normally this wouldn't be a problem, but the track's become pretty slushy, and that's going to make it tricky. But let's all get over this creek first. After a few unsuccessful attempts at taking it easy, it was obvious that the best way to get to the top of this hill was to give it a bit of right pedal and go for the flat out approach. This seemed to do the trick, and we all managed to get up without much trouble, but I'd reckon if we'd had much more rain, things would have been a lot harder. We joined up with Dark Corner Mountain Trail, and after a few kilometres came across a common obstacle, a fallen tree. Luckily we weren't the first to come across this, and there was a bit of a track beaten through the bush for us to use. There's a road in the middle of this marked on the map as very steep, and that's exactly what it is. It's a shortcut road that cuts some of the best bits out, so we're not going to take it, but a few of the group had a go for a bit of fun. You could actually spend most of the day just playing on this one hill. It's pretty difficult and is a lot steeper than it looks here. At the bottom of the hill is a great lunch spot with plenty of space to park and relax. But enough mucking around, let's move on. Back on the main track, and we're heading around the base of the hill and some of the really pretty sections of the track. When there's been a lot of rain, some of these crossings can become badly flooded and impassable, especially on these types of crossings where you have to drive up the creek a little bit. This one is Willow Creek, and it's soon followed by another crossing over Jackass Creek. All of these creeks flow into the Turon River. The last 15 kilometres of this 45 kilometre trek are within the Turon National Park, and we now follow the river track through the open eucalypt forests. The Turon Valley was once rich in gold and was the site of one of New South Wales's major goldfields. And although we weren't looking for them on this trip, you can still find the remnants of the mines today. The area is also rich in Aboriginal heritage. We're getting closer to the end of our day's travels and crossing some of the bigger and longer river crossings. It's hard to imagine it today, but these are often completely dry. Now, apart from providing four-wheel drivers with some fun, apparently the river offers excellent fishing, and trout seems to be the most common fish caught here. And if you want to spend the weekend doing some fishing and swimming, there are camping areas at Woolshed Flat and the Diggings, which is also a great place to base yourself if you want to spend your weekend looking for mines or doing some fossicking. Lochaber Creek is our final crossing and is located just next to the Diggings campground, and is a beautiful location with its river oaks and shady picnic areas. So that's it for our trip today. It's taken about 6 hours to complete, and we've had a great but wet time. The road from here is a very easy-going one and brings us back onto the highway at Capertee. But just before we finish, right at the top of the Pinnacle Fire Trail in the middle of this trip is a cleared section of land that gives a breathtaking view of the area, including the local townships and power stations. Definitely worthwhile making a stop.